Alright guys, welcome to the laws of cosine, I'm sorry. So we're going to go ahead and derive the formula for the laws of cosine. The first thing I need you guys to observe is that the laws of cosine is actually derived from actually the Pythagorean theorem. Alright, so if we take a look at this part right here, we know that the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, correct? Well, we're going to actually think about this. We're going to use the Pythagorean theorem, and we're also going to use cosine. Well, cosine, if we think about the trig functions, cosine is really what? Cosine of theta is actually what? Adjacent over the hypotenuse. So let's go ahead and begin. With this information, we're going to go ahead and work this out. The first thing I need you guys to understand is if this is A, this will be little a. If this is B, this will be from here to here is little b. And then from C, this will be little c. Alright? So if we take a look at this part right here, and let's go ahead and make a 90-degree angle. All right, in this case right here, if we take a look at this, we have the right triangle. All right, we do have the right triangle. And if we take a closer look at this, if we want to find this part over here, all right, let's say if we want to find angle A, all right, we have, let's say this is called, let's label this as X, and we're going to label this as what? If this is X, what should this be over here? Well, if we say this is Y, what is Y? Let's think about this. If we say this is Y, okay, we know that X plus Y is equal to what? B. Well, what is Y? Minus X minus X. Y is actually what? B minus X. So Y is actually B minus X. Do you guys understand that?
No.
If this is X here, this has to be B minus X here. Okay? So we have this so far here, and if we go ahead and take this here and we plug it in, let's call this H for the height. That's H for the height. So if we take a look at this part here, and let's take a look at this triangle over here, all right, we're going to go ahead and have the following. A squared A squared is equal to B minus X squared plus H squared. I'm looking at this triangle here. All I'm doing here is I'm applying the Pythagorean theorem, correct? Where A is my hypotenuse and these two are my legs. So when I work this out, we have A squared is equal to B minus X to the second power really means what? B minus X times B minus X plus H squared. Okay? We're going to go ahead and FOIL or multiply. This will give me B squared minus 2bx plus x squared plus h squared. All right. Any questions so far on that part?
I'm confused.
On which part?
On
B minus x squared b.
All right. What's b times b?
Excuse me?
B squared. What's b times negative x? It's negative bx, right? And what's negative x times b? Negative bx. When you combine those two, it gives you negative 2bx. But when you multiply negative x times negative x, it gives you a positive x squared plus h squared. That's how we get this part over here.
The whole class being like.
So that's the formula. A squared equals b minus x.
If we take the other part now, let's take a look at this part here now. We're looking at the other triangle. The other triangle, we have this then. We have what? We have c squared is equal to x squared plus h squared. Correct? You guys see the second triangle, correct? So if we take a look at the second triangle and we go ahead and solve for h squared, we have the following. C squared minus x squared is equal to h squared. Correct? Now, if we use substitution and we substitute this for this here, we now have a whole new equation, which we will have a squared is equal to b squared minus 2bx plus x squared plus c squared minus x squared.
You got me so confused.
All we're doing is substituting. Listen up, guys. You understood how we got this part right here, right? Yes?
Okay.
You understood how we got this part right here? All we did here was we solved for h squared. How do we solve for h squared? We got to bring the x squared over to this side. That's how we got c squared minus x squared. Now, all I did here was substitute. I know h squared is all of this, correct, right? So all of this here comes into here. So that's why I wrote this part right here. You see the h squared? It's just this part right here. All I did was substitution. All right? That's all I did here. So now I really have this, guys. A squared is equal to b squared minus 2bx plus, all right, you see the x squared? They actually cancel out. Plus c squared. Now we have that. We're good? All I did right here was cancel these two out, guys. That's it.
Okay.
Now I'm going to rewrite. I'm going to rewrite this. So look how I'm going to rewrite this. This is going to be a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bx. All right? So now we're going to do the final step. This is my final step here. This is my final step. And then afterwards, I'm going to show you what is it that you guys are supposed to memorize. But I'm going to show you how we derived. Everything is so far so good. So the final step is this part here now. Let's go back to this here. We know that according to this cosine of beta, all right, in this case, if we look at cosine of A, which is here, all right, cosine of A is actually equal to adjacent, which is x over the hypotenuse, which is what? C. Again, let me see if you guys see it better. Again, we're looking at this right here. You need to make sure that you guys understand the last part. Cosine of A, which is, we're talking about this angle here, all right, is equal to x, which x is what? Adjacent. This is my adjacent, correct? We're good? Over my C, which is what? Right up here. We're good? Did I lose anybody? All right. So if this is the case, all right, if this is the case, my final step here, guys, is to solve for x. When I solve for x, I multiply by C to both sides. This will cancel out. So here, x is equal to C times cosine of A. Once more, we're going to use substitution. Ready? And we're going to substitute whatever we have for x, which is here, and we're going to replace it in here. So here we go. Law of cosine is this: a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of A. That's the first one.
That's just the first one.
Now, but wait. Now that you understand the first one, we could go ahead and look at the other ones. The other one is actually b squared is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of B. That's my second one.
So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. What changes are the variables. So the last one, instead of choosing a squared, b squared, the last one should be what?
C squared.
Very good. C squared is equal to what? Should be what? A squared. Good. B squared minus AB cosine of
C.
That's my third one. That is called the law of cosine. Now, what I need you guys to memorize, I just showed you how to derive it. It's very long. All I need you guys to memorize are these right here. Well, the reason why is, remember I told you guys before, is I just don't want to give you something. It was like, do it, memorize it, and then you guys tell me, well, why? It's because it has, the logic is behind it. I just showed you the logical part on it. If you want to learn it, it's up to you guys to learn it. That's fine by me. But this is the most important part that I need you guys to learn here. All right? In this case here, guys, why is this important? Well, you know why? Because when do you use the laws of cosine? Well, you use the laws of cosine when you have three sides and you have no angle. When you have side A, side B, and side C, but you have no angle at all. This is when you use the laws of cosine. Because oftentimes, remember, when you use the laws of sine, you have to be given an angle, correct? Yes or no? In the laws of cosine, you do not have to be given any angle, but you do have to have all three sides. If you have all three sides, then you can figure out the angle. All right? Which that I will do later on. I just need you guys to learn this because I'm going to show you how to apply it during next class. All right?